that, but we kind of keep it the old-fashioned way around here, Just,
we do.
That's right.
There's nothing wrong with that either.
No,
It's simpler. It's a little nice being that way sometimes.
It is. I still like to hear people talk, and I like to meet people face to face. And so I'm not big in. I am getting better at texting. I text my children a little more now. If I'm going to the lake, they need to know I'm there. Okay, so I text them home send or what. I don't write books or anything on texting, but but I have learned to do that a little bit, and I'm a little more conscientious of it than I used to be. Still not up there with the 20 and 30-year-olds by any stretch.
Oh, I'll never be. They've surpassed me, no doubt. So, but I'm just glad to be here today.
Me too, and it's a beautiful day.
It is
absolutely gorgeous. I wore a coat in, but then I left it at the office because the sun's out. But it's not windy, so it feels warmer, I think, than the temperature.
No, I agree. And they were saying it might be freezing rain, but I don't think that's in the forecast anymore, so it should be nicer this weekend than they were thinking.
Yeah.
We need rain, but I don't need the freezing rain.
Yeah.
Just the nice rain.
Yeah. Just a nice rain.
Yeah.
We need 2 or 3 days of just a nice, slow rain.
Slow, steady rain. Yeah, we sure do. We sure do. Well, we might get it here one of these days.
Oh, I'm sure one of these days we will.
Spring's not here yet, and sometimes we have those springs that never quits raining.
Oh, yeah.
Don't need that either. But
it's been a couple years since we've had one of those.
Yeah,
There was a few years ago we had a big one.
We did.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm going to go somewhere else. It's not ever going to quit raining.
Oh, I know it. It's but hey, I enjoy this weather like this, and I actually did get out last Saturday and rode the motorcycle around a little bit.
Good for
and
you.
Beautiful day for that. Did something else I haven't done in years.
What did you do?
Well,
was it legal?
Yeah, it was legal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then we can talk about it.
We can talk about it. We one of the banks said we work a lot with the bank. They get a foreclosure or something. They'll call us, say, hey, we need this rehabbed or go clean it out. Well, in cleaning out one of our houses, I found a bicycle, and it was a fairly new, nice Schwinn 21 speed mountain bike, but it hadn't been rode in a long time. So anyway, I took it home. So after I got done riding the motorcycle Saturday, I was standing there looking at that. I thought, I'm going to clean that thing up and just see if it's rideable.
Sure.
Let me tell you something. Old Mark is in good shape as what he thought he was.
It's easier riding the motorcycle, isn't it?
It's easier riding that motorcycle.
Yeah, the motor does most of the work for you there.
I got the bike out, clean it, rides just like a new one, and I got a little ways from the house, and I was like, why did I go this far?
Now I have to make it back.
Yeah. And then Sunday when I got up, it's like, oh, no, I couldn't hardly get out of bed. But it was good exercise.
Sure it is. Oh, riding a bike is great exercise.
Yeah, so it's beautiful weather for stuff like that.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
Here we are in almost the end of January, and we're out riding bicycles, riding motorcycles, or walking, and stuff. And that's great.
Really can't complain about the weather so far this winter.
No,
it's been pretty good. Mild. Yeah,
it has.
And I heard on the weather the other night that it's been almost 800 days since we've seen single-digit temperatures here in the Ozarks.
800 days?
I didn't realize it'd been that long.
Wow,
but,
me neither.
Yep, it'd been almost 700, some right at 800 days since we have seen single-digit temperatures.
I'll be darned.
I'm all right with that. That number can keep growing.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. Yeah,
me too. So,
do you want to give out our number in case someone wants to call us today and visit with us?
Well, I think we ought to. 862-9977 if you live around here in the Ozarks. Of course, it's 417 area code. 1-800-375-0056. Toll-free call for no matter where you are. Or if you want to be high-tech and you want to text your question in, you can do that at 417-838-3192.
Okay, but Mark, do you know how to check those text messages? Do you know where they come into?
That's a challenge, Ron. So I may have to have you to do that. But if you got a question and would like to know, there's no reason you can't get a hold of us if you don't like to talk on the air. If you're a little shy like I am, that text will work fine. But
absolutely,
yeah, of course.
Either way, if you call in or text, we can't see you.
No,
so it's okay.
Can't. That's right.
You can text in from your jammies or whatever.
Sure.
No one's going to know any different.
No one will know any different. That's right.
That's for sure.
And Ron, it's good to have you back in the studio.
You.
You're no stranger to the show, and
always a pleasure to be here. I enjoy it.
Always glad to have you. We'll talk a little real estate and just whatever y'all want to talk about.
That's right. I thought, a lot of times I don't do this, but today I thought I'm going to take over a little portion of the show here because we have had some really interesting things happen at Spring Mountain Air this week, and I thought we would share them with some of our listeners. Of course, people know that we do heating and air conditioning and we do duct cleaning, different things, but we had some really interesting things happen, and I just wanted to share them. So one of the things that we had happen, a couple things actually, is some people, and I don't know, I know you with dryer vents and stuff, and I'm sure you know what the codes are and all that, but the local code is your dryer vent should not exceed 25 feet.
Right.
Okay.
Well, let me tell you what, some of them are really, really in excess of 25 feet. And so when you have a dryer vent that is longer than 25 feet, you have all kinds of problems and issues, and we've had 2 of them this week. And those can be rerouted and changed and moved. So we have done that for folks. We do dryer vent cleaning as well. And when you have one, I think Nathan told me, if I can remember correctly, the one we just did, or he went and looked at, is 65 feet.
Holy cow.
65
Wow.
feet. Starts upstairs, goes through the floor, downstairs, curves back up, out the side of the wall, underneath the deck. I mean, it is a nightmare.
Oh, man.
It is a disaster.
Wow.
Folks,
Sure, that thing's clogged like crazy.
Yeah,
Oh,
you do not
gosh.
want your dryer vents that long, and you don't want them in some sort of funky arrangement like that. So one of the things that we can do is come in, and if you're having trouble with that, first of all, your dryer is going to get clogged very quickly and quite often. Number 2, your dryer is not going to dry as well, so you're using more energy to try and get your stuff dry when you have an extended dryer vent. Plus, it's far exceeds local codes.
Right.
And they're not real safe when you have them that long. You get all these clogs in different areas and all that, and we've talked about this before.
Sure.
But, there's 10,000 homes a year burned down because of fire, dryer vent clogs. So if you have a lot of issues with that and you find that, your dryer's taking longer and longer to dry your clothes, you might want to give us a call, and we can come out and see what is going on. It might be it's too long. It might be that it's just plugged up. But we had two recently, which is really kind of interesting to me. The other thing we had is, and that we're dealing with a lot right now, is ductwork issues. And as we know, most ductwork in this area is underneath the crawl space. Now, we did have an issue this week where we went and cleaned out some ductwork for a commercial building. Now, when we got in to inspect it and clean it and all that, and they had some, the reason they called, most of the time when we get called for ductwork cleanings, they have issues. They have an odor issue, which we kind of touched on last week when Chris was here, or they don't have air coming out of a vent, or there's some sort of issue that brings it to their attention. Well, on this commercial building, we went out and some of the ductwork had come loose underneath this building. The reason it come loose, we found out later as we cleaned these vents out, is that there were dead cats inside and what happens is, especially this time of year, if you have animals or something that get under the house, then they are attracted to that warm air. Yeah. And so they will claw at that, tear that open to try and get in there to stay warm. They get stuck up in there and can't get out. Wow. And there were 4, which is sad for the cats, but it also creates all kinds of health issues. For your indoor air quality is bad. You get these weird odors and stuff because, once they get stuck in there and die, then they decay, and we all know what that's about. Yeah. So that's something that you might want to be aware of. And one of the things that we can do to help with that is when we come out and inspect your ductwork and find that it's laying loose under the ground, first of all, we can repair it or replace it. And the other thing we can do is insulate and seal it. That way, that keeps the warm air, like we talked about last week. It keeps the warm air closer to the ductwork. It's not spreading out from the ductwork, and that way you're not going to have an animal as likely to try and claw that apart to get up in there to stay warm. And I can assure you that there are lots and lots of buildings, residential, commercial, that have these type of issues because most people don't inspect that.
No.
So this is something, we're having some pretty mild weather. We don't have a lot of moisture, so, we don't have a lot of water sitting in our houses and stuff right now. So it's something that we can easily take care of for people right now. So if you're having those issues, you might want to call Spring Mountain Air and have us come out and see exactly what's going on with that.
There you go. Good idea.
Absolutely.
But that all happened this week.
Wow.
All of those issues, which is like, wow, kind of interesting.
Yeah, definitely. A little bit more than the normal house calls you probably get.
Yeah, a little bit more. Well, the weather hasn't been real cold or real hot. So, we are getting some furnace calls. People's furnaces aren't working. We are installing systems. We are installing even air conditioners. We can install them this time of year, like I mentioned before. But the ductwork thing seems to be more people are getting more aware of things are going. They're paying more attention, in their house, and they're saying we're not getting any warm air through this particular vent anymore. There must be something going on. That is a clue something is going on. So all those type of things kind of probably need to be checked into just to see what's going on. And then your indoor air quality. If you have something decaying inside your ductwork, all that's being filtered through your house.
Yeah.
So not something that you really want to be breathing a lot.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
So yeah.
No, for sure not. What I noticed, and this happened on our house that we live in, I had bugs and stuff coming out of a particular vent.
Uh-huh.
And so I had one of our handyman get under there to check. The duct hadn't fell completely down, but it had enough where it was left a gap.
Yep.
And so critters could get up in there, and they was coming out my vent.
Yeah.
And so
they're getting in where it's warm this time of year. Bugs and critters and all that want to be where it's warm too.
And so while he was down there, he just went through checked all of our vents and stuff, and it's pretty important, and it made a difference actually because
absolutely
I was just blowing that warm air into the house.
Yeah, that's just leaking out of your system.
So you're just collecting more animals because their heat's coming out, and so then more animals are trying to show up and get warm. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we even have had in the past. We've even had snakes get into the ductwork. And you don't think, of a snake wanting to get
handle that very well. I'm not a big snake fan. If I saw one crawling out of a vent,
no, most people wouldn't handle that very well. But that has happened in the past, and we have also pulled snake skins out at some really large snake skins out of people's ductwork. So
that's scary.
Yeah, you just want to. It's something else in your home. You don't think about it, but it also needs maintenance like other things in your home. It needs to be inspected and make sure everything's good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Ron, you missed it last week.
Okay.
We had a gentleman on the show that talked about crawl space or other things, but the main topic was your crawl space, what to do. How to seal your crawl space up, opening and closing your vents, all this and that.
Dealing with mold issues and why you get mold. And
what a show. That was very, very interesting.
A lot of good information.
A lot of good information there.
My sister, as a matter of fact, listened to like the last 15 minutes of that show, and she said, I'm sorry. She said that sounded like that was an excellent show because they have a lot of rental properties, so they deal with these type of issues. And she said in just the 15 minutes she heard, she went home and told her husband, by the way, did you know that if we just spray bleach on this, we're not killing it?
And
we're just bleaching the color out.
Yeah.
When I worked for the lumber company, I have people come in all the time and say, well, we need something, or, we're going to kill the mold on the, how on the north end of the house, it never gets the proper sunlight and everything. You get mold, especially on vinyl siding.
Yep.
And, somebody, and I've heard people say that they're going to do this on their deck or whatever. Oh, I just take bleach and water. Well, unless you do your laundry at your house, you probably don't know this, but I'm sure most of the ladies that does the laundry knows bleach don't clean your clothes.
No, it does
you
not.
add bleach to brighten them up.
Right.
And so if you try to clean your siding on the outside of the house with bleach, all you're doing is bleaching that dirt and mold out. You're still leaving. Now, it will kill the mold, but it don't clean anything.
No.
It leaves all the dirt and grime and everything.
Yeah, it just changed the color of it. You don't notice it.
Yeah. So, just straight bleach does not work to clean.
No, it doesn't.
But everybody's had that thought, that, I'll just put some bleach on it and clean it. Don't work. So, hey, we got a couple calls. Let's talk to Don here holding on. Go ahead, Don.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
I had a company that did my house a few years ago, and what do you do under the bathroom vanity and the kitchen sink when you can't get that grill work out of there? How do you take care of that?
You mean the toe kick that's underneath the kitchen sink if you can't get that out?
Yeah, you can't get the vent out to take and stick your hose in there. And it's in the bathroom vanities also. It's I've got tile, and
sure.
You can't get that out. And in my master bath, I'm getting a lot of dust. So I didn't know how companies like yours would clean those when you can't get that grill work out.
If it was on a crawl space house, you could
You
do it from underneath. Take the take the ductwork off from underneath.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to do a lot of times. We have to access it from the crawl space.
Right. Could you tell me what you normally charge per vent?
We don't, Don. We don't charge per vent.
Okay.
That can cause all kinds of argumentative things and all that. We charge by the size of your air conditioner per tonnage, and we just have a flat rate. If you have a 2.5 ton or 3 ton system or whatever it is, there's just a flat rate. We don't care how many vents you have, and I don't have those figures in my head.
That's all right. That's no problem there.
Yeah.
So it goes with the. I think I've got a 3.5 ton down and 2 up, I believe it is. But I'm getting dust in the master there, and I changed the filters and all that, but I didn't know how you got to the grill work. So actually, you'll take the ductwork loose underneath and then clean it and then put it back together, I guess.
Yes, we have to cut access holes in the trunk line underneath, and then we seal those up and we access it that way. That way we can get to all of your vents and your ductwork and everything.
Okay.
But if you want to call our office, and that number is 831-4036, and tell them what size you have, they can tell you exactly what it would cost to do that.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank
you, Don. Appreciate that. Let's talk to Woody holding on. Go ahead, Woody.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
Everybody. I'm enjoying your conversation. When it comes to vents underneath the house, if they have not been wrapped or insulated, it sounds like this guy's vents were leaking. And if the venting pipes are unwrapped, if I was building a new house, I would make sure all my vents are wrapped in an unheated crawl space. Plus, a lot of houses in this area all the way up to Kansas City, if you look at the amount of radon gas, if you put a ceiling plastic or I used to be a radiant barrier distributor, and so my crew could wrap vents and stuff like that. And in most cases, the energy bills have just shot up this last month by about 20 to 30%, and all the nonprofit energy not nonprofit, but all the energy companies. There's 43 electric companies in Missouri, and they're all going to raise their rates. And I just found out yesterday that Missouri had been deregulated as far as energy. That's the same thing that happened to the telephone company. So you still can maintain your same carrier, but use other resources and sometimes cut money off your bills. But what I could see Mary doing in the future, I don't know whether you do this, is a home energy analysis. There's ways you can take a infrared camera.
Yes, that's correct.
Actually make use software with it to make a recording of the thermal image of your house. And if you do that, you can see where all the convective leaks are all the way around the house. And if you're building a new house, it really makes a lot of difference if you have standard insulation. What I would do is I'd wrap the whole house in radiant barrier before I put the exterior walls on, because that stops a dew line from forming inside your insulation. And I know my crew would go out in some cases where you have a dew line form, you have condensation, and that lowers the value of your standard insulation. So using a radiant barrier in combination with a standard insulation is very smart to do. But it makes a lot of sense that if you go in, you can get certified in home energy analysis. And with everybody's electric bills going up, that makes a lot of sense, because then you can...
Actually, I don't know what happened to you there. We lost you, Woody. Actually, Jeremy with Energy Wise is the one that we recommend. He does those energy audits and stuff, and we work in conjunction with him a lot.
Right.
So that's a great idea. I mean, you can come in and have someone come in who's certified to do that. Since we work so much with Jeremy on that, we haven't got those type of certifications. We concentrate on the heating and air part of it. But for a whole house energy audit, I would highly suggest that you have Jeremy come in and work with you on something like that.
Yeah, and on our new houses that we built, we had Jeremy come in and work with us. And it wasn't that we was trying to go the Energy Star, whatever they call it.
Right.
We just wanted to make our new houses more efficient.
Correct.
And Jeremy sat down with us. He did the analysis and everything and showed us things that we could do in the building process to make them more energy efficient. So, but Woody, we appreciate your call. I don't know what happened there.
I'm not sure
we
either.
lost him, but it's a great call.
Yeah, thank you very much. And it looks like we have to take a break.
I think we do.
Already?
Stick with us. We'll be right back.
Yep.
I got squirrels in my attic, I got bats in my head. Well, Bob just leaned over the counter and he shook his head and said, you need home repairs and solutions. Home repairs and solutions.
Here's news on the Ozarks News Network. A jury has found a man from Springfield guilty in a knife attack on a woman just over a year ago. 45-year-old Derwin Cole was convicted of domestic assault, armed criminal action, and tampering. He attacked his ex-girlfriend as she was beginning her workday at the Golden Corral on North Kansas. Springfield Planning and Zoning Commission has given its approval to plans to put a new Walmart neighborhood market near Grand and Campbell. Last month, the commission turned down the plan, but the company came back with a revised plan that addressed traffic issues. It would become the 5th Walmart neighborhood market in the city. And one man is in custody and another is being sought after an incident involving a stolen car. It started when the suspect took off as police approached the car near Sunshine and National. Later, he crashed the car near Oak Grove and Grand. The car was reported stolen in Christian County. For the Ozarks News Network, I'm Arlen Summers. Tune in to Doug Rye's Home Remedies live call-in radio show every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m. on KWTO AM 560. Doug is a nationally known energy efficiency expert. He'll discuss topics and answer questions about how you can make your home more energy efficient and save money. Brought to you by Ozark Electric Cooperative, Barton County Electric Cooperative, Southwest Electric Cooperative, Webster Electric Cooperative, and Berry County Electric Cooperative.
Do you dream about a carefree, financially secured retirement? Now each Saturday morning at 8:30 a.m., Common Sense Economics for the Family with Tommy Ruff gives you information on how to prepare your family for the challenges facing us during the next 3,000 days. Discover alternatives to the low interest rates banks are paying on CDs and how to multiply your money while minimizing your risk. If you want to learn how to retire and not worry about income, tune in to Common Sense Economics for the Family every Saturday morning at 8:30 a.m.
Clouds giving way to some sunshine today. It'll be warmer by the afternoon, high of 44. Clear and cold tonight, low 25. Tomorrow will be warmer as we see a mix of clouds and sun, high of 52 to start the weekend, low of 35 tomorrow night. Cloudy and breezy as we see some rain at times on Sunday, high of 54. Intervals of clouds and sun heading into Monday, the high near 70. I'm AccuWeather's Jason Lord.
This is the Wall Street Journal Report. I'm Jennifer Kashinka. Sales of new homes fell 7.3% in December, which was more than expected. But the median price rose by more than $3,000 to $248,900, a sign of improving health in the housing market. Anika Khan of Wells Fargo says the sales decrease shouldn't be much of a concern.
This does not bring into question the strength in the housing recovery. Typically, during the slower months, we get some volatility, especially at the year end.
The iPhone ended the year with a blowout quarter in the U.S. market, but underneath the big numbers are signs Apple faces a rapidly changing marketplace that could erode its dominance. Samsung is putting its huge marketing muscle behind phones across price points, while manufacturers in China and elsewhere are churning out low-cost devices. On Wall Street, the Dow Industrial's up 22 at 13,847. The Nasdaq's up 8.5, and the S&P 500 up more than 2. This is the Wall Street Journal Report.
Ever thought you were getting a free service that turned out to be anything but? Bait and switch. When I do my taxes online, I use TaxAct.com. TaxAct.com. Their code is like mine. Integrity. They mean what they say. Simplicity. It's fast and easy. Value. It's free for all e-fileable federal forms. Free.
TaxAct.com. It's how we act.
TaxAct.com.
Shaquille O'Neal for Icy Hot.
If you've got pain, you need the patch.
The Icy Hot Patch. Powerful, targeted, fast-acting pain relief that stays put without the mess. Icy to dull the pain, hot to relax it away. In a variety of sizes, from back, shoulders, knees, even arthritis. So you're covered whenever and wherever you're hurt. Stop pain right at the source with Icy Hot Patches.
Pain's no match for the Icy Hot Patch.
For temporary topical pain relief, use only as directed.
Join us from 7 to 9 p.m. Sunday nights on AM 560 KWTO for Armed American Radio. That's Sunday night from 7 to 9 p.m. on AM 560 KWTO.
Live on Sunday night, it's Bill Cunningham.
Bill Cunningham here, the Great American. Every Sunday night live, a small band of renegades form around radio. From Maine to Hawaii, from Alaska to Florida, and all places in between, to talk about the issues of the day. This Sunday Night Live, we talk about what was and what lies ahead. Bill Cunningham, the Great American. I am a Great American, live with you every Sunday night.
Willie.
The Bill Cunningham Show, Sunday night at 9:05 on KWTO.
Well, I went down to the hardware store to see my old friend Bob. I said my roof it leaks, my rug's a mess, and my front door needs a new knob. I got squirrels in my attic, I got bats in my head. Well, Bob...
It's 39 degrees at KWTO AM 560, and we're back with Home Repairs and Solutions, brought to you by Spring Mountain Air Heating and Air Conditioning, your local Amana dealer. You can join in the conversation at 862-9977 or 1-800-375-0056. Now here's your host, Mary Pearson and Mark Withers.
By the way, I'm going to correct you on something. That's Amana. Now, I know it depends what part of the country you're from, but from Missouri, it's Amana.
I was born in Arkansas. this music is right up my alley.
There you go. Hey, mine too. So
yeah,
you know, hey, the old saying is you can't be sad when you hear a banjo.
That's right.
And you can't be sad when you're listening to Home Repairs and Solutions.
Well,
That's correct.
Yeah. So
you know, we had someone call in at the break, and they had a question, and I'm going to answer that for them. And the question was, probably some of you had this experience, but air conditioning theft is pretty high right now in this area. And we've had several calls, and it's commercial and residential, and we've had to replace people's stolen air conditioners. And the question was, what can you do to prevent someone from stealing your air conditioner? Aside from sitting there with a shotgun
and a big mean
dog, you know, there's no real guarantees. But one of the things that you can do, and actually the air conditioner right next to our office was stolen. Ours is on the roof. Theirs was on the ground. Obviously, it was easy pickings. They took the one off the ground.
Yep.
Well, when they replaced it, they put it back on the ground. But what they did is they built a chain link 10-foot tall fence around it with a lock.
Wow.
Now, that is not going to keep someone from stealing again, but it's going to deter them if they can go down the road and there's one that's easily accessible.
They're going to go for the easiest ones first.
Absolutely. And the way this works is they're very quick at it and they're very smart. And typically what's going to happen, and if you're in a neighborhood, you kind of need to bring your neighborhood together to pay attention to what's going on. If you see a strange vehicle or something parked in front of someone's house or something going on, what they do is they go to where the unit is, they pierce the Freon line. And that way the Freon all leaks out. If they cut that Freon line, it's going to make a pretty loud noise and it's going to draw attention. So what they do is they pierce the Freon line or put a small gash in it or something so that the Freon will leak out slowly. Typically the next day they can come back at that point, cut the lines, grab the unit, and they can be gone in seconds. I mean, these guys have this down to a science, and they're very, very quick. The best thing to do is if you have neighbors that are home during the day to kind of pay attention to if there's strange vehicles that's kind of parked in front of someone's house for a minute or so and then leaves, or you need to kind of be aware of that. If you want to, you can put some sort of chain link fence around it with a lock. That's not going to protect you 100%, but it's going to make them look for someone that's easier to steal with less time. What you don't want to do is you don't want to enclose it with a wooden box or something like that. You have to have space around it for airflow for it to work properly. So, you know, we've had some people say, well, they're just going to, you know, build a box over it and put a box on it. You can't do that. Then you're going to burn out your compressor. But in order to completely keep someone from stealing it, I really don't know the answer to that. Now, we are going to have Sam Blaine with Atlas Security back on. Let me see. He's coming on February. Let me look here. I believe he'll be on February 15th. And we'll double check with him, but I think now they have some sort of alarm. They can hook it into an alarm system and to your thermostat so that if someone monkeys with your air conditioner, it will set the alarm off because it will obviously if they cut wires or something, it's going to disconnect the thermostat. So we'll ask him about that on the 15th and make sure that that's. But I do remember him talking to me about they have some new thing now that they can hook to the thermostat.
Yeah, I
that's a
remember.
Safety measure because air conditioning theft is so big right now.
I've also seen people move it from the side of the house to the backyard, so it would be enclosed in their fence yard.
Yes.
Because again,
and that will help deter.
It's not going to keep somebody from doing it, but if somebody's driving down the road and they don't see an air conditioner on the side of your house, but your neighbor has one that's out and open, they're going to go to that one first.
Right.
So,
and we do that. We have moved them for people for that reason. They want it, they want it in the backyard or they want it from the back to the side or whatever. So, if you want it moved for some reason, if you think you can put it in an area where it's not so visible or, but I don't know, a fence is kind of a double-edged sword because it also protects someone who's back there, then no one can see him. So you have to kind of decide what you want to do. But
of course, I part of my wife's family, live up around St. Louis, and some of the things that they do up there, I'm not crazy about when it comes to building. One thing that they do is their units outside are on brackets and they're up off the ground on the house.
And they're bolted to the house.
Bolted to the house.
I did see one here in Springfield. I've only seen one. I can't remember where I saw it, but I was driving around somewhere, and someone did have theirs bolted to and I thought, okay, they moved down from St. Louis or somewhere because that's not standard practice in this market.
It's not, but I think it's one of the better ideas.
It's not a bad idea.
And plus, it keeps it up off the ground. It's easier to clean.
Yeah.
You don't get, when you mow around it or weed eat, you don't get all that stuff in it and stuff.
You're not going to cut the 2-wire with the weed eater and that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not the most aesthetically pleasing to look at, but...
No, it's not. And I could also see where a service guy, it'd be nice to have it up there eye level where it'd be easier to service and stuff. But, one of the things, and we was talking about Sam Blaine with Atlas Security, one of the issues that a lot of builders are having right now, we are too, with our new houses, is going in, getting the wire stolen at the rough end stages.
Yeah.
And, by golly, you come into one of our houses now, I'm going to be notified via cell phone. My construction manager out there on the job, Scott, he's going to be notified. And Atlas gets notified because they've worked with us, and we have alarm systems in our houses that are being roughed in. And one of our questions was, okay, what if somebody, because in that stage you just have a temporary power pole.
Sure.
And so you have to run an extension cord or whatever. So the question was, somebody comes and unplugs it, and, if they do, we're notified.
It goes off,
It goes off.
Yeah, if the power is disconnected to it,
Yeah. So, there's it's sad, but, things like that, for instance, the wire that got stolen out of one of our new houses cost us $1,200.
Yeah.
And so...
And you have to reinstall it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. That gets expensive.
So that just adds to the price. We have to, recoup that cost if we can. And it makes us hard on us that's also realtors and stuff out there selling the houses, because just little things like that can really add up on the cost.
Certainly.
So we try to, so to have Atlas, it's maybe, $40-50 a month to have their service. But golly, look what it can save us.
It can save a lot,
Yeah, and so you don't have to be a builder to utilize their service. If you're a homeowner and you want your house protected from somebody stealing your air conditioner, and this time of the year, you're not going to know it because you're not using it.
Because you're not using it. That's correct. Yeah.
And so,
That's correct. And they know that. As a matter of fact, something that I would just caution some of our listeners in, because we have had this come up in the past, if you are looking to replace your air conditioner and you have a reputable company come out and give you a price to do it, and then maybe you have someone else that maybe isn't quite so reputable give you a price, and there's a big difference, you might want to make sure that you're not buying a stolen air conditioner, because that's what's going on. They're stealing some of these newer units and selling them as new to someone else. And one of the ways you can kind of maybe find out if it's stolen is if you look at the sticker on the outside of the unit. Oftentimes they try and peel those off. It's got the ID numbers of the units, and that way they can't be traced back. And so if you see one and it's got someone's tried to take part of that sticker off, because they're not supposed to come off. They're meant to withstand the weather. They're really stuck on there good. If you can tell someone's taken something and scratched at it to get that off of there, you really might want to move on from that, because you're probably buying stolen products.
Don't want to do that.
You don't want to do that. That could get ugly.
It could.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, big time. 862-9977, 1-800-375-0056, or you can send us a text at 417-838-3192. We'd love to hear from you. If you got a question for Ron or Mary or myself, we'd love to talk to you and give you an opportunity to answer your question.
Definitely.
Well, if we don't know the answer, we'll make one up.
I'm good at that too.
So, yeah.
I'm never wrong that way.
That's right. Hey.
You're right in your own mind, aren't you, Ron?
Exactly. Yeah. And that's all that matters.
Absolutely.
That's right. Ron is with RE/MAX House of Brokers, just actually down the hall from my office, so I see him quite often. And but things seem to be picking up in real estate just a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. For the last several months, things have been kind of a lot more consistent and not necessarily overly busy with just overloads of work, but it's real consistent. And in the past, it's kind of more been, I can't talk today, it's been a little bit more sporadic. We'd be busy for a few weeks or a month, and we'd have a month or two where we're a little slower, and it's kind of nice just to get back to a little bit normal consistency.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and don't you think interest rates are helping that as well? I mean, the interest rates are still just incredible.
And they've been low for a long time.
I mean, it is almost free money, folks.
And they've been low for getting several years now. They've been real low. And honestly, the next year or two, I don't really see any major movement in them. They may creep up around 4%, but I don't really see them go up higher than that for a while. So I think they'll be low for a while.
Still 4%.
That's still cheap.
Yeah. That's cheap money.
Well, when I bought my house, my first interest rate was 6.5%, and that was what we thought cheap back then. And really is not a bad interest rate.
I'm going to tell you something. Think about it. The first house my husband and I bought was 12%, and that was a deal because we went through VA and got a deal. The going rate then was about 15.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
I think that's what my parents' first one was.
Yeah.
Close
so
to
if you're
15.
looking at 4%, 3% or something,
you're not doing too bad.
That's And have they? I've heard a little bit that maybe the banks have kind of released or lessened some of their their requirements were so difficult there for a period of time. Have they kind of loosened up on that a little bit, or are they still pretty much thumping you on the head?
See, everybody's always complained about it's being hard to get a loan. I don't necessarily think that's the case. If you have a job, good credit. And you don't even have to have a down payment depending on what type of loan you have. Like a USDA or VA is a smaller amount or just a fee, I think. And so I don't really think it's been hard to get a loan. I think they just made it too easy in the past. Like the people that should get loans are the ones that have a job, good credit, and
down they can make the payment.
Yeah, those are the only people that should be getting loans.
And so that's still not that difficult for someone in that position to get a loan to buy a house.
No, I mean we've got some clients that are in their early 20s, just getting out of college and have a job, and they had credit, and so they decided to buy a house. I mean, so someone who's just starting out in their career, in their life, is able to get a loan as long as they, have money, a good credit, and a job. And so you don't have to have a lot of money.
Right.
So I don't really agree with the statement that it's so hard to get a loan out there, just because I think it was just too easy before.
And people that probably couldn't really qualify were getting them and probably shouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, they literally had loans where you could just tell the bank how much money you made, and they wouldn't verify it. It would be like, oh, okay, you make that much money. You could bring in your own statements to
Oh, well, now that's
verify
interesting.
That. Yeah, and so that's how we were getting into this situation.
I see. I didn't realize that was that easy. That's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, and that's an extreme example. That's not how all the loans that went bad were, but I mean, they were literally almost that easy.
And and it has nothing to do with your age either, because our son bought his first home strictly by himself at 19.
Yeah. Right.
Because he had a job, he had good credit, he had the money for the down.
Absolutely.
And so it was a very small home. He bought what he could afford. That's the other thing. Buy what you can afford.
Exactly.
And then you can work up from there. But
you got to keep in mind, okay, you don't just have your house payment, you have your utilities, and most people,
and you have taxes and insurance and maintenance.
And most people don't want to just sit in their house all the time. They still want to go out with their friends, go on vacations,
especially if they're young.
Have a life still, absolutely. And so you want to keep all that in mind when you're trying to decide how much you want your payment to be and what size of house you have. And a lot of people think, well, I'll just buy a really nice house and have it for a long time. It's like, you don't really have to do it that way. I mean, buy for what you need now.
Sure.
And later in life, if you need to upgrade to a bigger house or a nicer house, whatever it is, you can do that then, but just live within your means now.
Absolutely. That's great advice.
And the days that, and this goes back to more our era, me and Mary, but the days of where you could walk in your local hometown bank and say, hey, I'm going to buy a house, the first house I built in Marshfield, I don't know how old I was, probably 20, 22, something like that. I walk into the Greene County Bank out Stratford, and I happened to know the head guy out there at the time. I said, hey, I'm going to build a home. Okay, we'll just bring in your receipts. I mean, it was just that easy.
Yeah.
Because they knew me.
A little bit different now.
Those days are pretty much gone.
Yeah.
But what you can find, and we do this quite often. Matter of fact, I'm meeting some folks at noon today at one of our houses that she told me up front on the phone. She's like, our credit is terrible. But we have good income. We are working. We're on track getting, things back to normal. So you can find builders like what we do that can do maybe a little owner financing up front. And do a lease purchase or a contract for deed type thing for 3 or 4 years until you are able to get your credit score up high enough where you can go in and get your own financing.
And I see that as a good way for people to go who maybe lost their job through no fault of their own.
Yeah.
When everything went south and there were people who lost their jobs, they might have been employed somewhere for a long time. For whatever reason, that business went out or downsized, they lost their job. It's not that person did something wrong or mismanaged their money.
Yep.
But when that happens to someone, you don't always, it takes a while. You're a victim of circumstance, but you don't have to always be a victim. Like you said, you can find someone like you that can come in. And that's when we started our Smile Plan for the same reason.
Right.
Because we had great clients, people who were hardworking, lost their job, didn't want to spend all their savings on a new furnace, and so we came up with that. Some people just need another chance because it's not that they're bad money managers or
things
something
happen
like
outside
that.
of our control sometimes.
Certainly. So, and I know someone that you've helped do that, and I think that is a great service you provide for people.
One thing to keep in mind too, if people are out there looking for something like and having a builder do an owner finance or something like that, or even just a private individual doing an owner finance, they're going to be interviewing you to make sure your credit, they think you're going to pay their bills, but also make sure that builder's a reputable builder, that if he's got a loan on it, that he's going to pay that loan off.
Exactly.
Because that happened a few years back where people were doing these owner finances from these people put in neighborhoods, and they were never paying the bank off. Like these people were paying this company, but then that was never getting forwarded on. So also make sure the builder you're working with or whoever you're working with is a reputable person as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you're not making payments to someone and never getting anything paid off on your home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then one of these days you get a knock on the door and they're like, we're here to take your home.
It's like, you need to move out.
You need to move out.
You'll get a little piece of paper taped to your door, so you got to move out, and it wasn't any of your fault or your own because you'd been paying your payments, but whoever else hasn't been, that's tough luck.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and that's a good point, Ron, because and we urge no matter whether you're buying a house or having somebody build you a house, buying a house, have a new HVAC, whatever, get references.
Yeah. It's easy. It's so easy to get references, and I was talking about this earlier, actually. I do a lot of my shopping, especially Christmas shopping, online on Amazon, and they have ratings and references where you can do products, and most websites have that. I know ours does. I wouldn't be surprised if you have a referral section on your website, Mary, and it's so easy to find somebody who might have done business with someone before to find out if they're going to be a reputable person.
Absolutely.
And that's the idea of us, as far as this show goes, like to work with local people, because these are folks that you're going to run into at the grocery store, at the barber shop, or church, or wherever. And me as a contractor or an agent, whatever, if I see somebody, I want to not think, oh gosh, there's somebody, and go the other way. You want to be able to shake their hand and look them right in the eye.
Yep.
And there's always going to be things that happen. So, I mean, there is, no perfect house.
No.
If we build somebody a new house and they expect it to be perfect, they're living in a fantasy world, because there is no perfect,
there's not.
But if you are a good, reputable person and you do have callbacks, you fix it.
Absolutely.
And that's what it's all about right there, is that customer service and taking care of your customer. And so
I think people nowadays, even though we're high tech and we have all these ways to communicate where we're not talking to someone face to face. I still think when it comes to business, people still want face to face. They want you to look them in the eye. They want to know they can trust you.
There's nothing more powerful than that. I completely
Absolutely
agree.
agree. Shake your hand, look you in the eye, and say, "Yes, I will take care of this for you," or "Yes, I will do this for this price," or whatever the case may be. You still need that. In my opinion, when it comes to the business world, most people still want that personal touch, and they want to know who they're doing business with. They want a face, they want a voice, a something.
Especially in the types of business we're all in. I mean, we all deal in homes, and these are people's homes. This is where they live. This is where they raise their kids. They want
it's their biggest expense usually in their lifetime.
Yes, they want to know that the person either helping them buy it or helping them fix their heating and air is someone they trust and they can have into their home.
Absolutely.
You know, Ron, we've both of us have had dealings with, and I won't mention his name, but with a certain guy that came into the area, thought he was going to build these houses, and built a nice little house.
Yeah, it was a decent house,
but wouldn't come back and do anything. I mean, once we went and did our thing and got the people in the house,
he thought he was done.
He thought he was done.
Yep.
And so these people would be calling us.
No, you're not done.
And the problems with the houses weren't anything that isn't typical for a new construction house. Like Mark was saying, nothing's perfect. Everybody makes a little mistake, but everything's fixable. And so that's what these things were, just little things here and there. And it's like, okay, this builder at the time would have just taken a half a day. He would have fixed everything instead of having me have to call him every week and ask him why the stuff isn't getting fixed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so, you know, when people called us then for, hey, you know, we're looking at a house that so-and-so built, what did we tell them?
I talked, after that incident, I talked several people out of buying the other homes in that neighborhood built by that same builder.
Yeah.
And
I would too.
Again, won't get into any names, of course, but there are several builders that I tend to tell people, it's like, well, it's up to you, but this is what I know. And I kind of give them reasons why I maybe think they should keep looking somewhere else. And in the end, it's the customer's decision, but it's our job to guide them along the process and kind of help steer them clear from situations where it might be expensive for them in the future.
Yeah.
I have a quick question for you, and I don't know if it's the same way now, but used to, when you were going to go in and try and qualify for a home, they would say you shouldn't, your house payment shouldn't exceed 25% of your income. Is that kind of still the rule, or is it just
It's the rule I like to live by, but the bank standard is actually a little higher. I think it's closer to 33%, or maybe for a while it was around 40 even.
Yeah. Wow.
But I like to go about the 25% rule because in my mind I can figure, well, no matter what, at the end of the week, if I have to use that check to pay my mortgage, that check can pay my mortgage as long as I have 1 week out of a month can pay it. So,
And so, see, if you're someone looking, maybe you're a first-time home buyer, maybe that'll kind of give you a guideline to go by when you're out there looking. You know, take, you know, what you make in a week and look for a house in that range so that you can afford it and you can still have, you know, a little bit of play money and stuff left at the end of the month,
to give someone an idea, like the first-time home buyers out there, or even just someone who's renting and maybe thinking, well, maybe I should buy, a loan amount of about $90,000 with taxes and insurance and everything is going to be less than $600 a month.
There you go.
And
there you go.
That's you can probably find, depending on where you're at, you can probably get in a 3-bedroom, 2 to 1.5 baths in that for around $90,000, maybe a 2-bed.
And you know, that's not a bad starter home at all.
Absolutely not.
That is not our starter home was a 8-foot wide, 30-foot long trailer.
See? Yeah, there you go. And a comparable house to that, like if you buy it, it'd be about less than $600, but it'd probably be $750 to rent it out. So you're going to save yourself. It's much cheaper to own a home right now than to rent out.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And I have some rental property, so I need to be quiet and quit saying that. But for the people that can budget their money, it is much cheaper to do that.
Sure.
Ron, it's been great having you back on the show.
Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
We always appreciate you just jumping and coming and being with us.
Well, good.
That's
Thank
always
you.
A treat.
Absolutely.
Good to be here.
Anything going on with you this weekend?
I don't know yet. Not that I know of. No one's told me.
That's kind of a good thing, not to know. So, same way with me. It's going to be a quiet weekend.
I hope so.
Yep. This is Home Repairs and Solutions. We're heard every Friday morning from 10 to 11 right here on AM 560 KWTO.
Now if you've got a problem and you don't know what to do, Your siding's going bad, and you're plagued with green mildew. Well, your faucets, they all drip, and your sinks are all clogged up too. Well, there's no need to worry. I'll tell you what you can do. Just call Home Repairs and Solutions. Home Repairs and Solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house. They'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home Repairs and Solutions.